Welcome back. It is Sunday morning and I'm putting out some fertilizer before I head to church, and hopefully tomorrow, Monday, we can start doing our tillage and all of our different steps it takes to get these late crops ready. I'm fertilizing my sweet potato ground and my late watermelon and cantaloupe ground. We ended up with a little over a half an inch of rain last Thursday evening. So I think by tomorrow it'll be dry enough to start here on the tillage. It was just barely dry enough for me to put out the fertilizer this morning. I was going to do it yesterday, but anyway, we did it this morning. I mentioned to you last video, it's a lot of different steps I got to do down here, and so we're just going to be jumping from one thing to the next all week long. So I'll just try to show you a little bit of each thing that we're doing. Some of it you've seen before, but this is pretty stressful time for me usually these last 12 days of May. I like to get the sweet potatoes planted before the end of May, and I like to get my last late melons transplanted right after that. And we've got all these process of getting all that ready, in addition to taking care of all the crops we've already planted, in addition to getting all of my retail and wholesale place set up to get ready to the public. And so once we start that and we open up to the public, it limits my time significantly on how much I can do out here. Plus my labor is shifting more towards harvest and not towards planting and all that. So it's a lot going on. And so hopefully the weather will be good in these next 2 weeks really to get everything done. Over the weekend, we got the third cantaloupe planted on the plastic. So we will only have one more cantaloupe planting, and that'll be on bare ground, which is what I'm getting ready here. We planted our first cucumbers on the plastic. So we have one more cucumber planting and one more squash planting on the plastic, and that is all of the crops that will be planted on the plastic mulch. In addition to me being on the tractor pretty much all week, the guys will be getting those last cucumbers and squash and cantaloupes planted in the greenhouse. They'll be staking the cucumbers. We're doing some hoeing. They'll continue to keep up with the string on the tomatoes, and we've got to get the polypipe laid this week. Some of it we cannot do until after I get through with this, but we can do some of it, like on my sweet corn and some of my peas. Go ahead and get it all laid and ready. In addition to all my spraying and everything else I have to do. So that's kind of what the week looks like. So we will little highlights as we go. Now this is why I don't ever want my crops to get ready too early, because we have so much to do, right before we start harvesting, as far as planting and getting everything finished and taken care of and all that. Now once we open up to the public, obviously you still have to take care of the crops, but a lot of the major stuff is over with, or that's my goal, to get the major stuff over with before we start opening up and start selling. Alright, I came back Sunday afternoon and I'm on the do-all now, and I'm going to show you here in a second. I'm going to get out and show you why we're doing what we're doing on this step. Alright, these are my old beds. They've been hipped up for a few weeks, and we came back and sprayed it. You can tell everything is, dead, not any green out there. All right, this is a pass where we made do-all. You can see how it knocked them down more flat, and also it fluffed it up and freshened it up with fresh dirt. All right, what I'm gonna do after this is we're gonna come back and spray a soil insecticide. So you just think about it broadcasting a spray where the beds are kind of flattened now. And then we will come back and re-hip it and capture that soil insecticide in the row. Got it flat now so it's more surface area, and then when we hip it up it'll be in there. Then we'll come back with the roller and flatten it back out on top, and it'll kind of have a seal of that soil insecticide, you know, in those beds. It won't be right on the top, it'll be underneath in the bed where the roots will be. So that's kind of what we're doing and why we're doing these next couple of steps here. All right, we're back the next morning and putting out my soil insecticide, and I've got the hipper right here hooked up, ready to go, and immediately we'll hip it in as soon as we get through spraying. For sweet potatoes, it is absolutely 100% necessary to put a soil insecticide in. It lasts the whole season. You still have to come back and do your regular spray schedule, you know, on the foliar. But if you did not do the soil insecticide, every sweet potato would either look like it had been chewed on by a rat or shot with a BB gun or something, because of the soil worms and grubs, etc. We also do our watermelons here with the same treatment. We found a few years ago that when we were doing some rotation between potatoes and watermelons, we were getting some of those same grubs left over in the ground, and they were hitting those little watermelon transplants as soon as we would plant them. So once we started doing the soil insecticide on the melons, it made a big difference. Alright, now we're on the hipper and we are, you know, covering up the soil insecticide as well as incorporating that fertilizer all into the row. Alright, now we're on the roller, and that's going to kind of seal it all in, and we will transplant the sweet potatoes and the watermelons right on top of the row here where it's been rolled. Alright, we're back in the spray tractor putting out Valor on my sweet potato ground. When we get through, we will have to clean out the tank and the tips and all real good, because then we'll have to switch over and put out a pre-emerge on the watermelon. So probably do that tomorrow if the wind's okay. Won't do it today. We'll have to get back and get the sprayer cleaned out. The Valor will have to be rain activated, and if for some reason it doesn't rain before we get ready to plant, then we will pre-water it, which sometimes we pre-water it anyway. Same with the watermelons. Alright, we switched gears now, Tuesday morning, and I'm going to do my little plow, the hood, and the do-all like we did a couple of weeks ago. I'm doing it between the youngest melons, and we'll also do the tomatoes and peppers. Basically everything we did not do the first time. You can See how they are already running off the plastic just a little bit, so I can't wait any longer. This is the first corn, and it's started tasseling a few days ago. Usually it's about 21 days from tassel to harvest, so I would say somewhere around the 10th of June. Today is the 21st of May. Okay, so we did the hood and the little do-all to incorporate it. So that's all of the pre-emerge and tillage that we will do on any of the melon crops on the plastic. We're through with all of it. The only thing we would do would be on the tomato and pepper rows. I won't put out any more pre-emerge, but we may just plow them a few times, periodically throughout the rest of the summer. All right, we're in the first peas with the rolling cultivator, plowing them for the first time. I would have done it probably a week or two ago if it hadn't been so wet. Definitely makes it nice and pretty after they've been freshly cultivated. We'll have to come back and hoe what I'm missing with the cultivator, those weeds that are right on top of the row there. Mostly pigweeds. So that's usually what we do. We'll plow the peas and then we'll come back one time, kind of give it a once over, and just live with it after that. All right, now it's Wednesday morning and I'm injecting my fertilizer on my once a week injection on the drip tape. This is gonna tie me up here for 2.5 to 3 hours. Once I'm done, I'm gonna try to prioritize what I need to do next because they've bumped up our rain chances a lot tonight, maybe even some tomorrow night. Earlier in the week, it wasn't supposed to be anything, so gotten a lot done, but I got to prioritize in case it rains a lot. What do I need to do most? So I'm probably gonna do some plowing on the second peas and maybe do some spraying on the peas where it tends to stay wettest. I'm still not through with the late crops, but I'm close. We're getting the poly pipe laid yesterday afternoon and this morning. And I've got to go back and do the hood on the watermelon field and the late field between the rows where we're going to plant. So I can do that if it's a little bit wet because I'm just riding right on top of the ground. So that's kind of the plan for today. We'll see what the weather does. Okay, now I'm cultivating in the second peas for the first time. These seem to be cleaner than the first ones. Not too many weeds out here, but there is some grass. We're plowing up what we can. We'll come back maybe next week and try to spray the grass, but we're on the south side of the sweet corn up here, so I can't, with the wind blowing out of the south today, I can't spray the grass and let it drift on the corn because the corn is a grass and it would definitely hurt it. All right, now we're going to spray the third peas with my first insecticide, and I'm going to come back and spray the first and second peas that we just got through cultivating this morning and yesterday afternoon. I'm going to put a fungicide on them. And if we have time, which we should, I'm going to do the furrow like I mentioned on the third corn, and hopefully we can get that done before it starts raining Alright, we got the third peas here. These are the third peas. Got the second peas next door, and the oldest peas over the levee. Fourth peas that we planted already, they're starting to come up pretty good. Okay, this is the last corn, the youngest corn. We're running that furrow plow. We're doing it when the corn was about the same size as the second corn was when we did it maybe 10 days ago or so. So we are done with this. We got the poly pipe laid out, so now all we got to do is just water it. If for some reason it does not rain, then we'll probably water it probably in the next 4 or 5 days. It's going to get pretty hot, mid-90s, but more than likely we're going to get a little bit of rain. But you know, when it's hot like that, it doesn't take long for the corn to need some water, especially the older corn when it's tasseling and making ears. So usually we water it all 3 or 4 or 5 times, something like that. All right, you can see there's the poly pipe. We used 12-inch 10 mil poly pipe. Okay, I just marked off these rows here in the watermelon field. I'll need them flagged off when I get ready to do the hood. Well, fast forward to Thursday morning, and we got right at an inch of rain on Wednesday night, so that's gonna knock us out of any kind of tractor work, at least today, maybe longer. We do have some more chances tonight and a little bit tomorrow night, so hopefully we will miss it. We've got plenty to do. Right now, next week looks pretty hot and dry. That's what I said about this time last week, and then they threw some rain in, you know, last night, and more chances tonight. So we've gotten a lot done. The next thing on the agenda is to run that hood between those flags I just showed you. I've got to do that next, and then after that I'll do my weekly spraying on the weekends, and got to get my 5th peas planted, and then we're going to plant sweet potatoes. Hopefully about a week from today, maybe next Wednesday or Thursday, somewhere in there. But we've got to get some more stuff knocked out. I've pretty much got the potato ground ready, so that's kind of what's coming up. Here's the 4th purple hulls. You can see they've come up good. Got a good stand on these also. Okay, it's after lunch on Friday. Sun's come out a little bit, the wind's blowing, drying it out a little, so I'm knocking this hood out between those pink flags, and this will be the last thing really I have to do before we plant. We will come back and burn it down maybe a day or two before, even though whatever's up will be tiny. You know, it'll be my last chance to broadcast something and kill it, so that'll be the only other thing we do before we plant. The potatoes and the melons will do the same thing, burn it down right before. You can see we've got the poly pipe laid out, ready to go. It's just a little bit too wet, but I'm doing it anyway because we got more rain chances tonight, and I can't really take a chance on pushing this back another few days. I need to get it done. I'm not making ruts, but it's just a little bit sticky on the end, it would be better tomorrow, but like I said, I don't know for sure that it's gonna rain or not gonna rain. We missed it last night, thank goodness, but more chances tonight. On the next video, I'm gonna probably concentrate a lot of it on the sweet potato planting. Right now, the weather looks good enough for us to get it in. It takes us about 2.5 days to do it. So that's something major that's got to be done next week to stay on my timing and my schedule of everything. I'll talk about that more in the next video. But anyway, today is the 24th of May. We've had a good week, even though we got rained out of everything one day. We've gotten a lot done. The guys have done a lot of hoeing too, caught up on some skips that we've had and getting everything cleaned up. So I think we're going to wrap up the video here. If you hadn't subscribed to us, I would appreciate it if you do that and hit the like button, all those kind of things. So anyway, we will see y'all next time.